But a lot of people, a lot of patriots here in America, they want China to pay some price. Germany has now sued China for not being transparent. And someone who's leading that charge is Jenny Beth Martin. She joins us right now. She's the honorary chairman of the Tea Party Patriots Action. And Jenny Beth, you guys are, your group is, you're pushing for punishment to China. What do you guys know?
Well, what we know is that we can no longer think that China is a friend or an ally. They are clearly an adversary. As we look at what happened with this virus as it spread across the world, when China first realized they had a problem, instead of alerting the world and making sure they were transparent with the rest of us so that we could prepare and act accordingly, they hid it from the rest of the world, and they seemingly stockpiled personal protective equipment for themselves in their own country, and use the time to, rather than telling the world so that all countries could prepare, use the time where they were not telling us to protect themselves and their citizens without any regard to the rest of the world. And we have tried for decades now to see if we can get China to come around to our way of thinking. And as H.R. McMaster, the National Secretary Advisor, said, that it was a conceit for us to think that China would come around to welcoming themselves to the way that we think in terms of free trade. They simply don't do that. Their ideology is one that is very true to the Chinese Communist Party. And it's time that we face that fact and then we act accordingly. As far as what actions we should take, we have to reduce our dependency on China first and foremost, especially when it comes to medical equipment and pharmaceuticals.
Well, I think there's certainly going to be a big push to make sure that personal protective equipment, diagnostic equipment, and these reagents are all there's going to be a push here in America. But it sure seems like, Frank, remember Peter Navarro came out maybe a month ago and said that in advance of telling everyone about coronavirus, they were already trying to corner the market on PPE.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not the least bit surprised. You remember Peter Navarro wrote two tremendous books about the national security threat and the economic threat that China poses to the United States long before he joined the administration. So, Jenny Beth, what do you think, other than do what I think we all three of us agree is needed, which is to sort of reduce our dependence on China for things that are essential to our way of life, like medicine, like food, like technology that we need to live? What, if any, punishment should the United States be seeking for China's conduct here?
Well, there are several different options that I've heard floated around, and I am personally okay with any of them. I acknowledge first, I want to be very clear, I'm not an expert when it comes to foreign policy. So the people who are and understand the international relations better than I'm going to trust their instincts on this. But we've got states who want to sue China for the loss, the financial loss and revenue that the states have incurred. We also have heard of restructuring our debt to China. And Senator Josh Hawley is proposing that the United States withdraw completely from the World Trade Organization. Any of these things that can show China that we're not going to continue with business as usual, I think that our supporters at Tea Party Patriots Action are in favor of.
Is that the World Trade Organization or the World Health Organization?
Maybe it's the World Health Organization that they were saying.
Because China plays a pretty big role in both. I'm eager to see what all these American businesses like the NBA, like Walmart, like Apple, that have made so much of their business model designed to focus on the Chinese marketplace instead of the American marketplace. I'm eager to see how they respond to how China has conducted themselves throughout this whole situation, and see if they still make it their business to put Chinese consumers before American consumers when this is all over.
I think that I wanted to say, I think as consumers and as Americans, we're going to have to make those demands of these companies. And they may come back and say, well, we can produce things at a lower price if we do it in China. And if we're selling more to China, we can sell at a lower price to America. Those things are true, and that is correct. But what price are we paying right now when we have over 33 million Americans who no longer can earn a livelihood at all because of what's happened with this COVID-19 coronavirus?
Yeah, it's terrible. And Frankie, just a weird stat I was reading on, back a couple of months ago, the NBA took a pretty harsh stance about a GM in the league who supported the movement in Hong Kong. And one of the stats that came out of there was the amount of people in China that are watching one basketball game is more than all the people in America watching all the basketball games on devices.
You know what? I'm not surprised to hear that at all, John. And if you look at Hollywood, it's the same situation. If you look at all the big blockbuster movies, they make China or a Chinese government official one of the heroes in the movie so it can get wide distribution in China. You remember the first Independence Day? America had no problem beating the aliens on their own. The second one, when it needed that Chinese distribution, we needed the help of the Chinese. The movie The Arrival, great film, by the way. I really liked it. But who saved the day in that one? A Chinese communist general. Who was it that rescued Sandra Bullock in that space movie? It was, of course, China. Who was it that rescued Matt Damon in The Martian? It was China. It's always China who's the hero in these movies because the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government is very cognizant of the role that propaganda plays. So they're not going to allow any message to be widespread in their country unless it makes sure it props up China as the be-all and end-all, not just of Chinese civilization, but of the whole world, and in some cases, the whole galaxy. Yeah. So I think it's very interesting, the fact that all these American businesses are willing to put their pocketbook and their wallet, with a few exceptions, like Mike Lindell of My Pillow, who still makes all this stuff here, but they're willing to put their pocket and their pocketbook over their country just to suck up to the Chinese government.
Yeah, it sure looks that way. Hey, Jenny Beth, maybe one of the things we could do is, what China does is they deploy sovereign money into the production companies to make these films, and that's how they influence like Frank is saying, product placement, character development. Maybe we should look into all the film studios and how much money comes from China, and try to start some, boycott of Chinese-made films. That's punishment.
Yes, I think that everything that we can do like that is going to be very important. And I realize this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. We're going to have to demand this as consumers, and we're going to have to change our own behavior in order to be less dependent on them, and so that China feels some of the pressure. But these American companies that you just mentioned, where they're getting money from the Chinese to create the propaganda for the Chinese Communist Party, they seem to forget that without America and the First Amendment and the protections that the First Amendment provides for them, they wouldn't even be able to have the companies that they have in the first place.
That's for sure.
And I think they really need to go back and check, who are they going to be more loyal to? Are they going to be more loyal to the United States of America that protects civil rights and defends civil rights? Or are they going to be loyal to the Chinese Communist Party?
Yeah, well, it seems like it's more and more the Chinese Communist Party coming out of Hollywood. But Jenny Beth, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your patience with us. And, you guys out there, go check out the Tea Party Patriots Action and all the things they're doing to bring awareness and advocacy for punishing China. Quick break, more Liquid Lunch after this with Aaron Cohen.